Do you have something to say? Then you need to start a podcast today. Now, to do a podcast, what you're going to need is you're going to need a good hosting service. And the one I use and the one I recommend is Buzzsprout. Now, Buzzsprout has a lot of features, but the best part about Buzzsprout is if you really just want to dip your toes in to starting a podcast, it's completely free. However, if you're willing to go all in and go full hog, go to the bottom of my show notes here, use my link, and start an account. So not only, if you start an account using my link, not only will you have access to all of Buzzsprout's features and everything like that, you will also receive a $20 Amazon gift card as a special thank you for joining. After your, second month, you'll get it. Now, like I said, it has a lot of things. Especially if you start an account using my link, you get indefinite hosting. So every episode that you put up it's just there forever. They will keep it up for you. Multiple platform support. So that means that Buzzsprout lets you link to pretty much every podcasting platform, be it iTunes, Pandora, TuneIn, and just a whole plethora of other ones. You obviously have to do the work yourself and submit, but, I mean, again, it's easy. It's just a click of a button and a little bit of downtime. Let's see, what else do they have? They have a lot of choices for monetization, be it affiliate programs, such as this one you're listening to right now, actually. And also many different, and links to different sponsors and different sponsor services that you can join to, try and get monetized that way. And the big thing that they have is they also now offer the Magic Mastering service, which is, what that does is it automatically fixes the levels in your audio, so it'll kind of tune out like background buzzing noise. And if if you have more than one person on your podcast, it'll try to even out the volume between the two different people, especially if one's louder than the other. It'll automatically do that. And then all you really have to do is choose your subscription level based on how much content you think you're going to be putting out every month. You can go be safe like I am and go high, or, you can go low, and if you go over the amount of time, it's just a little bit extra. Nothing big. Now, unless you're a complete coding wizard, making the content is, in a way, it's both the hard part and it's the easy part, because obviously you got to have something good to say. No, you don't really. But unless you're a coding genius, actually uploading a podcast somewhere is a massive pain in the ass, and really it's, not even so much that, it's just like, how do I do it, right? Whenever I first started this podcast, I tried submitting to iTunes, and you go to the submission page, it's literally just a blank page and a field that says, what's your RSS feed? I don't know what the fucking RSS feed is. Buzzsprout, however, takes all that uncertainty away. Like I said, you just go to all the different platforms you want once you have your stuff uploaded and submitted, and just hit submit. And you just have to copy and paste and it gives you an RSS feed. It makes it for you automatically, so you have that. You can copy and paste that whenever you need to submit anywhere. And yeah, Buzzsprout makes everything easy. Buzzsprout I would say it's your number one resource for podcasting. So if you want to start your own podcast, go down to the show, go to the bottom of the show notes here, use my link, get your podcast up, get your Amazon gift card, and get your heart out there. Now, enjoy this show. Hello? Yeah, man, come over. We're drinking. Canphone. Nice little intro there for you. This is also our latest half-hour entry. It's the canphone. And this is from our buddies at, you might remember a previous episode, blackstackbrewing. Also done in conjunction with the, what is this? Fair State Brewing Cooperative. Which is, and these guys, or at least this one, is from, where is it? Mosaic Cryo in, what? I have no idea where this is from. Columbus, Ohio, I think. Now, let me see if there's a date. Hazy DIPA. I don't know. You know what? We're just going to go ahead and bust out the old horn and try it out. So, or at least I'll give it a try right now. Yeah, it's definitely an IPA. And it's decently strong, too. And if I look like I'm half asleep, it's because I went ahead and finished off that blunt before recording, which you would have caught a little bit more of it, but I had to restart in the middle of recording, so let me switch hands. Might also affect my podcasting ability, but hopefully not much. Oh yeah. That is an IPA, as you can see. A nice hazy color, hence why they call it hazy. And it foams up a little bit on me, too. You know, I always felt that whenever you pour an IPA, it kind of looks like a lemon meringue pie. As you can see, which is good. I like a little lemon every once in a while in my desserts. Maybe once the foam goes down on this thing, I can actually get a nice good swig of it. Speaking of foam, it was really foggy this week. Like, especially, well, I mean, at night, which for most people isn't something that you would really notice, but, I mean, I work mostly, so I noticed. Especially, yeah, like this, it was Wednesday, or not this week, but it was last week now, because this is on a Monday that I'm recording. But, yeah, man, last Wednesday I was out doing, like, the deliveries and stuff, and I was almost done, and then all of a sudden, like, I couldn't see more than half a block out. And then, well, it actually made me stay out a little bit more. So it's like, oh, this is cool. This is kind of my my element. I like being out here, so I did another 2 or 3 hours out in the fog. Plus, it was nice and moisturized too. So it was getting a little dry that night. But then I also had the same thing. This has actually happened to me a few times now, where I'm at my overnight job, where I basically just have to sit in my car in a mall parking lot, and it fogs up pretty nice out there too. I think that spot's also closer to like a beach, if I remember right. And it's like every once in a while, I do have to keep my eye out for the occasional homeless person that just goes walking through the lot site that I'm on, which is fine if they just go through. I think only one time I had one like stop and drop his pants out in the middle of the street and take a shit and then keep going. But I mean, that was off property. Who cares? Right? That's the city's problem out there. But I don't know. I imagine it'll be a little more. I'd be a little more. I want to say intense. Yeah, it would be a little more intense to see them kind of wandering out of like the fog or whatever. I was almost expecting like giant insects to come flying, or yeah, crawling out of the fog. Or was that The Mist? Like the movie. I remember there was the fog, and then there was the mist. I think the fog was they were like long dead pirates or whatever, and then the mist was the insects, where they were all stuck in the whatchamacallit. It was a convenience store. I want to say laundromat, but I'm pretty sure it was a convenience store. I don't think I even saw the actual end of that movie, because that was before on-demand TV. So I think it was like I saw like half of the movie, and then I had to go to class or something like that. But yeah, then The Fog was about like a town where I guess like the governor or the mayor's ancestors or whatever like betrayed and killed his own crew, kind of out on the ocean, like offshore. It was like something to do with the contract, and like the ghost came in and like set the guy on fire or something like that, and then everybody was saved or whatever. I remember it being okay. I think what I saw was like a remake too, 'cause I think that's like an old John Carpenter movie, as they all are, honestly. All right, let's go ahead and try out this canphone. Oh wow, that's very strong. Or very hoppy, I should say, in the way an IPA is quite hoppy. Woo. So what else have I been doing? As you see, I have been getting more episodes of the Gutsy Ass Gamer show are up, as I'm slowly making my way through Fallout. I already hit a bit of a snag. Not really, but it's kind of more of like a motivational snag, because in the game, I'm playing on survival mode, which if you guys are familiar with the Fallout series at all, in survival mode, you can't, or it doesn't autosave at all, unless you, well, I mean, it does, but, so you can only save in certain spots. You can't just be like, oh, something's coming up, pause, quick save. You can't do that anymore. The only time you can save are if you find a bed and sleep as your character, and then also whenever you gain a level. It'll whenever you gain a level, yeah, just when you gain a level, then it'll actually go ahead and save for you. I was gonna say whenever you also like apply what you get for leveling up, but then I remember it doesn't actually save for that either, so you have to go back and do it again if you get your ass kicked. And speaking of getting your ass kicked, you also have to deal with other things in survival mode, like your character can get sick, and they can also get like dehydrated and hungry and exhausted and all that fun stuff. But just this last one, after I ended the stream, I went ahead and found a bed, slept, and saved. And well, as soon as I woke up, I saw my character had an illness, which is like the worst kind, or no, not an illness, it was an infection, which is the worst kind, because that actually hurts you periodically. And I had just used my character's last antibiotics on a different illness earlier, which wasn't as bad, so I kind of wish I'd saved it. And I'm one level away from actually being able to make antibiotics myself. So now I have to, so now my character has to run around, being infected. And I had just gotten to, I was going to do like some stuff off camera, like some busy work in the game or whatever, to like go kind of like collect some stuff, nobody wants to see that. But, and then I ran into another situation where my settlements was under attack, and you have to deal with that. And then I got my ass kicked, and so I was like, you know what, I guess I'm done for now. Eventually I'll get to, I'll just put it on the show later, eventually. And then, speaking of shows, oh man, that is bitter as a motherfucker, Jesus. But speaking of shows, my other my other show, or playlist on here on YouTube, Poncho's Paint Booth. I got some more episodes coming out of that. I have them scheduled all the way up through the first week of December here. And I got another one that's almost done after that. And then I also, for those of you familiar with Warhammer, I have the Silent King model, which that's a very big model. Well, it's not, yeah, it's pretty decent size. And it's pretty much as tall as the one of the Imperial Knights, which is big. Which part of that was actually my very first episode on here. I did the legs that were left over from an Imperial Knight that was already mostly done. But, and I still have to do the base for. I'll have to remember that. That's also going to be another episode eventually. But yeah, I've been doing the Silent King. I had to break that one up into 4 different videos, which based on like the schedule that I kind of have, those won't be coming out until next year here, either like end of winter or into the spring, just because I have a few other videos lined up. But I have most of it done. Really, all I have to do left to do is the last video, which is going to be the guys that are actually standing inside of the dais, including the character himself. But so yeah, that's coming along. It's going great and all that. And then, yeah, this is also coming along. There are going to be some new changes coming up going into the new year here, which I don't want to talk about, but it's going to involve more people, so it won't just be me anymore. Well, you'll see. Now, we're figuring that out. We literally just had kind of like a meeting or whatever. We went out to grab a couple beers and stuff and talk about stuff, which we won't be able to do real soon here because apparently Wednesday we're going into another lockdown here in California, which is it's bullshit. Honestly, I mean, that's the only way to put it, especially since, they haven't given other businesses, like small businesses, a chance to, recuperate at least, or try and operate. Which, I mean, you very easily could have done. Because, I mean, I know other stores have been, well, a lot of stores, even like big ones, they've just been letting people in. And it hasn't been a problem, but that's all going away again. And they said it's a limited, and the plan is for another 3 weeks, which, hopefully that's what they stick to, but we'll see. My overnight job isn't going to be affected at all because that is an essential service. And of course, doing deliveries and stuff, that's exempt too. So the only thing I have to kind of worry about is my my other job that, like I said, I was working one of those drive-through events here in LA. There's only really one big one, so if you probably know already. I signed an NDA, so I'm not going to say what it is. But apparently the entertainment industry, in whatever vague terms that is exempt from the lockdowns, which means that my work that I'm doing is you can still, it's still going to be open, right? But what was I going to say? The one thing that it is going to be affected by is since they also decided to do a 10 p.m. curfew again. That's going to push our work hours, push them up into the morning because it's normally slated to the last group of cars would go through or be out by 12 or by midnight. So that means that everything's going to be pushed back a couple hours somehow. I don't know how it's going to work yet. We haven't gotten our new schedules yet. And I'm only on the weekend, so I won't even really know for another couple days here. Or, well, hopefully today, actually. And that'll just, change up everything in general. So, we'll see. And of course, that'll just be, it won't affect, I'll still be doing this. I'm not affected here. Let's see. What else do I have? I got some old show notes. I guess we'll go through that. Yeah, fashion ripoff. Oh, I know what this was about. So this was actually one of the first notes I came up with, and I just never got into it. But one thing that this isn't like a new concept, but especially here in the U.S., we're very, what's the fucking word? We idolize, like, high-end fashion brands. As in, like, some people do religiously. It's just, or kind of like with any other pop culture thing. Like, we idolize, celebrities and stuff. This is kind of the same thing. Think of, like, high brands, like celebrity. And I remember, I came up with this note because I remember when the first and last time I finally got to go to New York City, we went to, I went with my mom and some of her side of the family. We had Christmas out there this last Christmas, and well, we didn't get to really see much, but we were kind of lucky that the big department stores were within like a couple blocks of our hotel, namely, well, kind of like Nordstrom's. So we ended up, wandering around there and all that. But one of the things that kind of really that I saw was, they have like the different sections where all the different labels, or not labels, fuck. Yeah, brands are. And it just seemed like a lot of the stuff that was there wasn't really that high quality, especially whenever you got into the quote streetwear kind of sections. And I remember going through for example, I remember going to the Balenciaga section, which is I think that's one of those things where it used to be like a cheap brand, and then for some reason it got big and everything's expensive now. But I just remember seeing just like a regular black t-shirt that they had. It wasn't even like that good of material or anything like that. And on the front was just like this huge chunky logo, like the ones that literally stand up like like a centimeter or so off the shirt, and it's just like foam filled or something like that. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is crap. Like just real crap. Like you couldn't even put it in through the wash, otherwise it would rip apart properly. Mainly because of the label type of thing. So yeah, it's just a rip-off, and it was like $60 too. Like I would pay maybe $10 for, well, no, 20, because it is more material, but still, a lot of people kind of just phone it in when it comes to t-shirts. So yeah, fashion's a rip-off. Especially, I mean, admittedly so too. Like there's an actual thing called fast fashion where, a lot of these companies, they'll just make, cheap shit, and it goes out first and it's very expensive, and then eventually it just sort of falls off, and they either try and sell it off for cheap or throw it into the ocean or whatever it is they do. So gotta keep your eye out for that kind of thing. This beer's taken me longer to get through than I thought it would. Let's see, next. Oh yeah, one of the things that really, I guess, warmed my heart whenever I lived in Orlando for about a year before, when I was doing like VFX training and stuff. One of the things that I thought was really cool, especially in my part of town where it was a little less populated, but it was a little more spread out and nicer too, actually, was all the major street signs were lit up at night. They weren't just simple metal signs that you couldn't see at all. They were like full on light boxes. And I also noticed that they do the same thing in I want to say in Glendale, actually, here in California, and maybe parts of Burbank. And that's just one of those things that, like, you know, it's a good idea when you think about it. I feel like they should do that with like all of Los Angeles, especially the really busy areas. But I don't know. I mean, that's just me, because it doesn't really matter in my case, because I use my GPS, you know, just kind of for everything. But I don't know, like there may be a time where, like, my phone gets stolen or something. I highly doubt it. I've never had any problems up to date, crossing my fingers. But yeah, I mean, what if I can't use my GPS? I don't always know exactly where I am. I usually have a good idea nowadays, mostly because I use GPS to get there, so I can kind of see on a map. But you know, I mean, what if, if I get caught out, especially in the middle of the night, it's kind of hard to see where you're going, street sign-wise, because usually they're very small, like the regular size street signs. Like a third of the time, there's a tree in the way, and then, of course, at night, you just have headlights in your face, so you can't see shit anyway, so I like the lit-up street signs. I'm just saying, it's just, you know, one of those things that people can do to, you know, do better, to be a better city, I guess. I mean, why do you... I'm sure it's probably not the only reason, but it's like, why do you think people are leaving LA? Because there's certain things that suck around here, I guess, and I'm saying that's one of them. That, and, you know, if the taxes don't drive you out, the street signs will. Just saying. Oh, this last one's kind of a vague. Film about film. So, one thing that kind of turns me off when I'm, like, watching a movie is if the side premise is about making movies. Like, that's, you know, you see, it's basically just a movie sucking their own dick. Like for probably the biggest example that I thought of, the movie that I saw that really kind of kicked off this idea for me was, well, I was watching, it's on the tip of my brain. Fuck. What's the Tarantino movie about the Nazis? Inglourious Bastards, yeah. So, like, so obviously the main premise was, you know, going after Hitler and Americans taking on Nazis and stuff like that. And it's in, you know, World War II Europe, or France to be specific. But then the side premise of it was this whole, like, they were using the Nazi Party's interest in film and film and propaganda through film. And then it was this whole thing about, like, it took place in the theater, and, like, you kind of learn, like, all the history of the German film industry, and they had to infiltrate that. And it was film about film. It was a movie about a movie. And that, like, here is the credit to Tarantino, is that the movie was good enough that even though that's one of those things that just completely turns me off, I still really loved the movie, obviously. But anybody else doing this kind of thing, like if you're watching, like another example that's kind of in the same vein was what was that TV show, Man in High Castle. The whole thing, at least until the last season, which kind of sucked, but the entire show revolved around the characters seeing, like, an alternate future in films. Right, like, it's just film about film, but except it wasn't done anywhere near as good as something that Tarantino would do. And in the end, and then, of course, they had to deal with the whole thing where, you know, the production company or whatever decides, you know, like, oh, this is making too much money, let's cancel it, or whatever. So then they had to rush and make a shitty third season and just kind of cap it all off. And yeah, it hurts itself at the end, I think. I don't like especially yeah, if you're trying to be serious, you shouldn't break fourth wall rules at all. That's pretty much what it is. It's kind of like a side T-bone into the whole fourth wall thing, except you're not being funny, right? Like, if you're going to do fourth wall, if you're going to break the fourth wall in a movie, be Deadpool. And anyone else, fuck off. Don't do it. If I ever manage to direct anything, I will be sure to not do that fucking fallacy, really. Fourth wall fallacy. Get out of here. You know what? Let me write that one down for later. Fourth wall fallacy. I know there's actually a comedy club here not here where I am, but down in Hollywood called The Fourth Wall, which I'd wanted to check out. That's one of those pay-to-play spots, which is fine. And with everything being locked down again, it's going to be even longer before that happens. But I'm hoping that at least this time, because this is mostly going to go into a Biden presidency now. So hopefully they will at least be more, instead of like a lot of petty bickering and stuff, they will actually try to make it so that, you know, businesses can make it easier for businesses to reopen and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, everything's just pretend anyway, so I don't know, who knows. So yeah, hopefully things are going to get worse for everybody, but hopefully they'll be even better this time. And they'll actually at least try to figure out the whole stimulus thing again. But in the meantime, you know, bottoms up, I guess. So you can probably tell I did a little bit of a early Black Friday splurge. But hey man, a deal's a deal, and believe it or not, I can actually see just fine out of this. Is just a shadow. My ninja, white ninja. Alright, here we go. Assassin. Perfect. Alright. What else did I see since you last heard from me just now, actually? Oh yeah, I was looking for articles. There's that new movie with Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out. What is it? Iron Mask. I think I'm probably gonna skip this one because it looks like it's a family movie, which means it's for kids. And I don't know. I don't have a child of my own, so I'm not into that. I got out of kid likable movies pretty quickly, pretty early on. Anyways, I guess like Jackie plays like a Chinese monk or something like that. Go figure. And Arnold plays like a pirate. I don't know. He wears a red coat. He's a red coat, pretty much. You know, the fucking British. I think that's the premise of the movie. Is the fucking British are coming, and here we go. Arnold's one of them, which is kind of interesting in his case since he's very much not British. Let's see, but I do have some articles for you guys. First up, Forbes names South Dakota the riskiest state to visit. Well, that's good for me since that's exactly where I'm going in a couple weeks. Or in 3 weeks, actually. That's why, obviously, that's more COVID-related bullshit. I say bullshit on their ends because they aren't doing a goddamn thing about it. Literally, when I went back this summer for my friend's wedding, and of course to, hang out with my mom and all that stuff, literally the only place that did anything was Walmart. And, well, they were at least good enough to give out masks to people as they were coming in. And I didn't really see anybody being, acting up about it or anything like that, but we didn't exactly, go to hang out at Walmart, or that would be stupid. We just went there to, get supplies and stuff. But yeah, I think I said this already, but I remember seeing an article somewhere claiming that damn, it's late already. But what was I saying? Yeah, I saw an article saying that I guess South Dakota had more actual cases than San Francisco, but the state of South Dakota has less of a population than San Francisco. So that's, but I mean, then again, also at the same time, it's coming out more and more that, a lot of it's really just kind of hysteria. I don't know. I mean, all you can do, all I can really do in this kind of situation is, you just gotta, save yourself, as they say. So, I do my thing. I got my own mask. You've seen them. I wore one once on the show, but that's kind of stupid, so I'm not going to do that again. But, yeah, I just wear mine, kind of keep my distance. I never really went out to begin with anyway. I'm kind of missing that now. But, no, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll be fine. Go there, and on my way back. So I know the airline I use Delta pretty much all the time, just because it's the only one that actually goes to my hometown. But they're still doing the whatchamacallit, the every other seat thing on the airline. So no, whatever. Next up, hashtag fire ginacarano trends as Mandalorian fans demand that Disney take action. First of all, those aren't fans. So what this is about is apparently she had some questionable tweets about the whole, about LGBTQ related stuff. And I think it was literally it wasn't even that bad, if I remember. I don't think I actually saw what she actually says because, well, I don't have Twitter, and I follow her on Instagram too, just because. And she's never said anything there. Well, Twitter's the place where you just dump all your garbage thoughts, apparently. But if I remember, I think it literally boiled down to something there's way too many letters in this damn thing, which I get. I mean, there's, what was it? I think they're up to 57 approved, 57 official genders. At least in Canada, they're official. I'm sure in the U.S. they're as good. But I mean, really, if you really look at the list, you take an objective view of the list. There's the list of genders. That is, there's a lot of them are really just variations of the same thing. I think there was I remember I was trying to do a bit about this, but I decided to scrap it because it was kind of too, whatchamacallit, not offensive, but antagonistic, I guess. But if you like for example, two of them are like you could be pansexual or demisexual. Like one of them's like you are attracted to every gender at some point or another. Like you kind of cycle through, and then the other one's just like you're attracted to every gender all the time. It's basically the same fucking thing, but they just wanted a different word. And everybody wants to be unique and be their own thing. Well, relax. Anyways, it's also not up to me either. And it really, I mean, if that's basically the extent of what she said, like, you know, fuck off. And obviously, you know, if you really have that much of a problem with something that an actress, like, you're not a fan. You're not interested in actually making the show work. You're just interested in, you know, having your 15 seconds of fame and getting someone canned. And yeah, that's you're not a good person. She's better than you, fucking haters. And speaking of the Mandalorian, last up, how Mandalorian Season 2 sets up the First Order's origin, which, so that means that this is, so the show, I haven't actually watched any of the second season yet. I don't think it's completely out and finished, but I did see the first season, and apparently, so I know, like, in the first season, the remnants, the enemies, you know, he fought, like, stormtroopers and all that shit, but apparently they were kind of like remnants of the Empire after Return of the Jedi. You know, they're still kind of scattered all around, still trying to do their... So, based on the title of this article, and obviously I don't read these articles because that's the point, it sounds like the series is actually kind of like a prequel leading up to the last movies that came out, which, you know, love them or hate them, they're there to stay. I thought they were okay. They could have definitely used some work, but, you know, that's it, just okay. But apparently, but yeah, so I guess they, the First Order is kind of like the resurrected, Galactic Empire, which is the main enemy in those last movies. And, yeah, so I guess that's how you get, this kind of shows how they got there, I guess. Or at least the process of getting there. Maybe not necessarily exactly, but there you go. And I think I've even heard people saying that, like, even the prequel movies that George Lucas did, like the episodes 1 through 3, because, you know, like the original Star Wars were 4, 5, and 6. But someone was saying that even the prequel episodes were better than the newest ones, which I don't know about that. That's a little far-fetched, but maybe, I guess I could kind of see it. I know, I also remember seeing another article about the prequel episodes that was kind of interesting, is apparently it was kind of like the opportunity those movies were. Like, they really could have added some other things, like, especially about the like the Jedi's kind of being whatchamacallit, basically being like conservatism, whereas the Sith were more about liberalism. Because, you know, when you think about it, because the Jedi, like, their whole thing was about, you know, suppressing urges and emotions and really governing people's actions, specifically in use of the Force. Not necessarily, they didn't really care about, you know, like, governments and all that stuff. It was more just like, you know, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. Whereas the Sith, on the other, yes, there were bad guys, and there were never, like, a lot of them at a time, because they always have trouble getting along, but their whole thing was about, you know, using your emotions and really just kind of being liberated about with your emotions, no matter what is, he said, like, so their whole thing was, yeah, go ahead and, love whoever you want. If you get angry, let it out, yada, 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 all these things. And, I mean, of course, they always ended up, killing each other most of the time. But then, of course, the whole thing about Star Wars is that Palpatine kind of managed to figure out how to get powerful enough. And he's kind of like the to really be more imperialistic, hence the Empire. But the prequel movies didn't have anything about that. It was just, they had the one movie where they had Anakin as a little fucking stupid kid, and it was all, ooh, pod racing, and look, droids, and every once in a while they'd have like that fucking, I hate when movies do like that playful orchestral music, like where they have like, whenever, like, I don't know, someone goes rolling down a hill, or Anakin goes running away, or whatever in this case. But maybe that's just me. I'm a bit of a... I like movies that kind of take themselves seriously, and not ones that are like gimmicky. No, I don't like gimmicks in my movies. But yeah, and that was just the first movie. The second, I like the second and third ones a little bit more, because there's a lot more. Well, there's a lot more action, first of all, and it didn't center around some stupid kid. But yeah, Hayden Christensen, who they had for I guess young adult Anakin, they could have done a little bit better. I mean, he was good when he good when he played like angry, especially towards the end. But other than that, and also that whole series was kind of just like a showcase for Natalie Portman or what have you, and a little McGregor. But yeah, and there, I remember the article that I saw, which I'm going to try to explain, but there was also some more to do with like Qui-Gon, who was played by Liam Neeson. I guess there was like supposed to be there should have been like a whole thing about like he kind of recognized that Anakin was supposed to be like this double-sided coin, essentially, like as far as the Jedi and the Sith thing go, and that he would have to, I guess, like they could have had like this whole thing about him figuring out like, oh, I have to raise this kid outside the system, otherwise we're all fucked. And then, of course, well, he dies, and then Anakin, or not Anakin, but Obi-Wan, who was played by Ewan McGregor, wouldn't really, like, he would do his part, but he wouldn't really understand that whole thing. But again, there was nothing anywhere near as in-depth with the prequels. So they were all just kind of like, flash in a pan showcase movies, and people are arguing that they were still better than the new movies. So, what have you. But if you want to watch, you know what? If you want to watch something better than Star Wars, watch this podcast. There you go. Because we got all kinds of shit. We got stuff that's actually happening in the world. We got Warhammer stuff on my YouTube channel, which if I had to explain like the Warhammer 40K lore, like literally Warhammer is like if Star Wars had an older brother that had been smoking crack for like the last 10 years and was currently serving life in prison. That's Warhammer 40K. And to like literally, so when I was a little kid, I remember I had the original Star Wars movies on VHS. There was a time where I literally every day I watched one of these movies after school or whatever, and there was a time I was less than 10 years old, where I I had memorized all 3 of the original Star Wars movies, and not just like the dialogue, but also like all the noises and shit. So like every time R2D2 was, the beep, 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 I knew all of that stuff. And then the second that I learned about Warhammer 40K, it was all gone. That's what Warhammer is, or at least to me. I know if you're like, it also helps that I'm not like, a massive dork, so I'm not just gonna be like, oh, but still, Star Wars and my childhood and nostalgia. I don't have nostalgia. I don't really give a shit about tradition most of the time. I think I remember seeing a quote that tradition is really just being gaslit by dead people. And, well, we don't worry about tradition here. I guess if you want to make your own tradition, make the tradition to, watch the show here and watch all my other shows as well on YouTube. Check out Multi-Murdy Media on YouTube and on Instagram and on Facebook. You'll find this podcast in video form. You'll find my hobby show, Poncho's Paint Booth. You'll find my Twitch stream highlights. Well, they're not really highlights because it's still kind of everything, but I kind of like fast forward through the boring shit. But Gutsy Ass Gamer, that's me playing games. I'm currently attempting to get through Fallout 4 on survival mode. It's gonna take a while. Oh, sorry, I got some shit in my throat. Not actual shit, just crumbs. But and like I said earlier, there's gonna be some changes to this podcast, maybe even a new show. Who knows? We'll see. But so yeah, for now, Multi-Murdy Media on all there. Apparently, I gotta look. Apparently, I have to look into Rockfin as well. It's something similar to what you're seeing right now, but I don't know. It's all about just getting on more platforms, right? So check that out. And of course, if you like the pot, if you're more of an audio or an oral person, or you just want to listen to the podcast and not have to, try and watch a video while you're driving down the highway or anything like that, check us out pretty much anywhere you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Alexa Listen In, I think it's called, Podchaser, and there's a bunch of other ones. iHeartRadio. I'm still working on the Pandora, barely, but I'm working on it. So, and I'm going to keep working on this show for all y'all, and of course for me. So I will see you again next week.